I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the Vietnam Veterans News Podcast. News of interest about Vietnam veterans from a Vietnam veteran. Now, here's your host, Mac Payne.
This is Mac Payne here with episode 1739er of the Vietnam Veteran News Podcast. News about the Vietnam War and the brave veterans who served there, as told to you by yours truly, a Vietnam veteran. In this episode, we're going to talk about the Vietnam Veteran Memorial Fund project to create a wall of memories. That is, they have made it their mission to find a picture of every person whose name is on the Vietnam Memorial Wall in Washington, D.C. When they first started, people laughed at them. They said, it's impossible. You will never be able to do it. It looks like they may have the last laugh on the naysayers. They're down to just a few dozen pictures needed to complete the wall. There's a superwoman out in Hawaii who has helped find thousands of those pictures. I call her the Sherlock Holmes of picture finders. It's an incredible thing what she's doing. I'm going to share a story with you that comes out of the great state of Georgia, specifically Jackson, Georgia, where they are looking for a picture. I'm going to share that story with you and encourage you to help find the picture. It can be done. If anybody can do it, Janna Hoehn will do it. Jackson, Georgia, for your information, is located about 50 miles southeast of Atlanta, Georgia, right there in the middle of the state. The story I'm going to share with you appeared in the Jackson Progress-Argus newspaper. The story was submitted by none other than Larry Stanford of the Rockdale Citizen. Title of the story is this: Vietnam Faces Never Forgotten Virtual Memorial looking for a photo of Sergeant Clarence A. Whitehead. The story by Larry Stanford tells a little bit about Clarence A. Whitehead and his service to his country, along with a description of Janna Hoehn and what she is doing. I encourage you to listen to this story, and if you know anything about a Vietnam veteran by the name of Clarence A. Whitehead, to get in touch with her. Her contact information will be on the show notes for this podcast episode number 1739er over at the podcast website, VietnamVeteranNews.com. I advise you to go to the website in addition to getting her contact information and see a picture of her in front of some of the many photos she has obtained. She tells me it is a very spiritual process when you find these pictures and connect them with the name on the wall. That's why she's so devoted to it. It's such an important thing. Let's take a look at the story, and then I will give you her contact information. Again, the title of the story is Vietnam Faces Never Forgotten Virtual Memorial Looking for Photo of Sergeant Clarence A. Whitehead. Dateline, Jackson, Georgia. On the wall at Jackson's Veterans Memorial Park are the names of those from Butts County who died in the service of their country in wars from World War I to the War on Terror. For Vietnam, there are two names, Philip G. Turner and Clarence A. Whitehead. Army Staff Sergeant Turner was just 20 years old when he was killed in action in Quang Tinh Province on May the 24th, 1968. Sergeant Whitehead was a 14-year veteran of the Army and was 30 years old when he died in Vietnam after stepping on a landmine March the 25th, 1966. Did you get that? If these numbers are correct, he was 30 years old when he died and he had been in the Army for 14 years. That means he joined up when he was 16 years old. Guess he had to tell a fib about his age when he signed up. Also, had he lived, he would have been a young retiree at the age of 36. Continuing with the story, Both have their name inscribed on the Vietnam Memorial Wall in Washington, D.C., along with 58,274 other fallen heroes who lost their lives in Vietnam. Philip Turner also has his photo and information on the Faces Never Forgotten Wall of Faces, a virtual page organized by the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund, better known as VVMF, and dedicated to honoring and remembering every person whose name is inscribed on the Vietnam Memorial Wall. To date, more than 53,000 photos have been submitted to the virtual memorial. Did you get that? More than 53,000? They're getting there. But while Clarence Whitehead has his information on the Wall of Faces, there is currently no photo of him to go with it. Janna Hoehn of Maui, Hawaii, has made it her mission to find photos of Whitehead and other Vietnam veterans whose name is inscribed on the wall and add them to the Wall of Faces. Hoehn got started on her search for photos in 1997 after visiting the Vietnam Memorial Wall in Washington, D.C. with her husband. Even though I never knew anyone killed in Vietnam, I wanted a rubbing of one of the names, she said. I approached the wall and chose a name, Gregory John Crossman, an MIA. When I returned home, I decided to research Gregory and tried to find his family. In the event they were never able to go to the wall, I would send them the etching, hoping they would share a photo with me of Gregory. Off and on for 6 months, I researched every way possible and never found any family. I was quite disappointed. However, I had one more possibility. My cousin, our family historian. 6 weeks later, she found a college photo of Gregory. 2 years later, Hoehn saw a story about the Faces Never Forgotten and sent the photo of Crossman in. Jan Scruggs, the founder and president of the Vietnam Memorial Wall, responded and asked her if she could help find the photos for the 42 Maui County veterans that were killed in Vietnam. It took her 6 months and assistance from the Maui News, but she found photos of all the vets. Every one of them from Maui County. Since then, Hoehn has begun searching for photos of Vietnam veterans from all 50 states and has collected more than 7,000 photos since 2011. All of the photos were submitted to the Wall of Faces online memorial with the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund website, as well as accompanying the healing wall that travels all over the U.S. Hoehn is currently looking for Clarence Whitehead's photo. Clarence Albert Whitehead is the son of Levi J. and Ollie Easton Whitehead of Flovilla. He is buried in the Rock Creek Baptist Church Cemetery in Flovilla, not far from Jackson. Whitehead served with C Company, 1st Battalion, 16th Infantry, 1st Infantry Division in the Army. He was awarded the Purple Heart, Good Conduct Medal, Vietnam Service Medal, and Vietnam Campaign Medals. Hoehn was able to contact one of Whitehead's nephews who thought his family might have a photo, but so far they have not found one. She is hoping a high school classmate of Whitehead might have a yearbook with his photo in it. Whitehead would have been in high school between the years 1949 and 1952. Putting a face with a name changes the whole dynamic of the wall, Hoehn said. It keeps our fallen heroes' memories alive and will honor them. Our hero stories and sacrifice will never be forgotten. If you do have any information that would help Janna Hoehn get a picture of Clarence Whitehead, please get in touch with her at neverforgotten2014@gmail.com. If you know someone who was killed in Vietnam and would like to find out if their picture is on this Wall of Faces, all you've got to do is go to vvmf.org/thewall, type in that person's name. It will immediately tell you whether or not they have a picture of him. Just in case there is not a picture of this person you are looking for, get in touch with Janna Hoehn. She'll let you know how to start looking and maybe you can help find some of these missing pictures. They're down to needing just a few more. I would encourage you to go to this website just to look at the pictures they already have. It's heartbreaking. All these young faces whose lives were snuffed out at such an early age, and you think about their families whose lives were forever changed when they lost their loved one in Vietnam. Looking at those pictures adds so much to it and helps us to remember their sacrifice to their country. Please help us out. If you know anything at all about Clarence Whitehead, get in touch with Janna Hoehn at her email address. Any bit of information can help. I've spoken to her about how she finds these pictures, and she is like Sherlock Holmes. She searches out every possible lead, and it is amazing how she can find these pictures. Also, you don't have to be a resident of Jackson, Georgia, to provide information. You might have known Clarence Whitehead in basic training. You might have been assigned to one of his units down through the years. You just might have a picture that can be used. So please check it out. If you do have any pertinent information about this veteran, Clarence Whitehead, who made the ultimate sacrifice in Vietnam for his country, please get in touch with Janna Hoehn. We want to get Clarence's picture on the virtual wall. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. This is Mac Payne closing out episode 1739 of the Vietnam Veteran News Podcast. Thank you so much for coming to listen to these stories. You are cordially invited to return again soon and often to listen to more of these stories that will be coming your way on this podcast, the Vietnam Veteran News.
How about that? Ain't that a mess?